Hey, welcome back, students, and congratulations. You've made your way to video number 2 in our series. So in the first video, we talked about setting up a Fusion 360 account. We changed our units to inches, and we created a project, and we saved our very first project in here called the Subtractive project. All right, if that sounds new to you, go back and watch the video before this on the classroom page before you jump into the Subtractive video. All right, if that all sounds good to you, you're going to go back to the classroom page as well, but this time we're going to open up this Google Doc that I've got for you. Inside of this Google Doc, this should look familiar. This came from our multi-view drawing slideshow. This is one of the first multi-view drawings we looked at. All right, so again, just to recap, down here in this lower, get that out of the way so it's less distracting. In this lower left-hand corner, we've got the front view of the object. There's some dashed lines on here giving viewers clues that there's some hidden details underneath the surface of that front view. This drawing has also got some dimensions that go around the outside. They're giving us information about how big the object is. Okay, above the front view, we've got our top view, and to the right of the front view, we've got our right side view. And up here is our isometric drawing, kind of showing us how it all fits together. So we're going to model up a solid object that looks something like this right now in Inventor. And we're going to do this using the subtractive method. So what the subtractive method is we start with a large object, and we're going to slice some pieces out to make it look like this one. And so we're going to start off with a rectangle that's 7 inches long, 5 inches tall. We're going to turn that into a cube that's 5 inches deep. And then we're going to slice a couple rectangles or rectangular prisms rather out of that big rectangular prism to make it look like this shape. All right, so here we go. Again, this video is going to work best if you're watching on your laptop and working along on your desktop. And as I do stuff on my screen here, I encourage you to pause the video and you do the same on yours. All right. So up top here, we want to make sure that we're in design mode on our toolbar. If you click here, you can see you've got some other options. So we want to make sure we're in design mode. And then we're going to go next to design mode, and we're going to click on create sketch. Okay? Now we're in a kind of a 3D mode right now, and we got to pick which plane we want to sketch on. Yeah, I would recommend come over to this view cube up top here and click on the front side of your view cube. Right, and then that'll bring us down to one plane. And that's where we're going to sketch the front of our cube. So I'm going to click here. This is going to take me into what's known as sketch mode. You'll know if you're in sketch mode because up top on our toolbar, there's going to be a green check that says finish sketch. All right, so we're in sketch mode until we tell we don't want to be by clicking finish sketch. Over here, we've also got our sketch palette. There's some options. If you like having that grid in the back, you can. If that's too busy for you, you can turn that off. I'm going to recommend you keep the snap function off. And then I like having all these other ones that are checked on my screen checked. Right? And this is kind of the way it defaults to. All right. So now we're going to draw our first rectangle. And if you've forgotten, because I've been chit-chatting a little bit here, we're going to draw a rectangle that's 7 inches long by 5 inches tall. All right. So to do that, I'm going to come up here to the 2-point rectangle tool and click on it. And then I'm going to start my first one by placing the first corner right at that origin where the red and green line cross. Okay? And to do that, I'm going to click once with my mouse. I'm going to drag my cursor out. No, I'm not holding the button down on my mouse. And then I'm going to tell it how big I want it to be. So I want it to be 7 inches wide. Then I'm going to hit the tab button. That allows me to toggle between these two dimension boxes. And I want it to be 5 inches tall. And I'm using the roller ball on my mouse. Now I'm pressing down on it to drag around. And I'm doing that engineering thing where I evaluate my solution before I move on. I'm double checking I got 7 in one box, 5 in another. If I did type the wrong number in, I can just toggle between these using the tab button to change them. Okay, I like what I got, so I'm going to hit enter. Okay, let's say you hit enter and you go, ooh, I goofed up. I need to change this dimension. I can always come back and I can double click on the dimension. That'll open that dialog box again so I can change it and then hit enter when it's what I want. Okay. I like what I've got, so I'm going to finish my sketch. When I go back into 3D mode, and again, I can tell I'm in 3D mode now because I've got the create sketch button here on the far left-hand side. When I get back into 3D mode, a lot of times I like to hit this house just to kind of give me a 3D view of what my object looks like. Okay. Now we're going to go to the second button from the left at the top. We're going to go to the extrude button. This is where I can turn this object into a 3D object. Okay. So my extrude menu, for whatever reason, is closed. So I'm going to click these two triangles here. I'm going to click the plus, and there's my extrude menu. Okay, so now it wants to know right here, what distance do I want to extrude this to? This is where I'm going to give my object some depth. So if I look at the right side view, I can see it's 5 inches from side to side. So in the distance box here, I'm going to type 5. Then I'm going to click on OK. Okay. And I've got my first 3D shape model. You should have yours modeled on your screen right now. We have done a rectangular prism. Okay. So now we're going to use the subtractive method. We're going to start slicing away at parts of this rectangular prism. So I'm going to go back to create sketch. I'm going to click on this front face again. I'm going to use my rectangle tool, and this time I'm going to draw a rectangle that starts in the upper right hand corner, and I'm going to drag it down. And I'll be honest, I don't remember the dimensions on this one. So what I'm going to do is just draw this rectangle. I'm going to click on the home button, and so I can see that rectangle's in there. That looks good. And then I'll go back to my front view. Now you can see there's no dimensions here. So I'm going to come back and add some dimensions to them. And I want that cutaway to be this area here that I'm cutting away. Right? Now, the way this is dimensioned, they make us do some math. Okay? So this thing is 7 inches long overall. This section here is 2. Right? 7 minus 2 is 5. So I want my rectangle to be 5 inches long. Okay, my object's overall height is 5. This flat section here is 2, so 5 minus 2 is 3. I want this to be 5 by 3. Okay, so we're going to use the dimension tool to do this. Here's my sketch dimension. I'm just going to click this vertical line and drag my cursor over. I'll click a second time, and you can see I've got this really random number. I'm going to type the number 3 in and hit enter. Now I've got this sketch locked to the corner here, so it's stuck on that corner. It comes down 3 inches. When I click that horizontal line, I'll go up and click a second time, and I can type in 5. And now I've got my rectangle at the correct size, and because we started up here on this corner, it's in the correct location as well. So I'm going to go Finish Sketch, go back to the house or the home view, give me that 3D view. And this time I'm going to extrude, but down here at the bottom where it says Operation, I'm going to go to Cut. And then I'm going to click in here. Okay, and it says, what do you want to cut? I'm going to change my extent type from distance to all. And then I'm going to go down here where it says flip, and I'm going to flip it the other direction. And you can see this is going to cut through all the material behind that sketch, which is what I want it to do. All right, I like the way that preview looks, so I'm going to click OK. All right, and we just did the subtractive method. We took a large shape and cut it down. All right, so if we go back to our demo, our example here, now I'm going to do this cutaway at the top. All right, this is 5 inches wide overall. This goes from 1 inch to the edge to 4 inches, so that's 3 inches overall. And right here we can see it's 4 inches from the bottom of the object to the bottom of that cutaway. The object's 5 inches tall overall. All right, so this rectangle is 1 inch tall, 3 inches wide. All right, so I'm going to click on the Start Sketch. We're going to go to this face and use my cursor to drag it down. I'm going to draw a rectangle. So you can see how I get that blue X. That tells me it's locked on that line. I'm just going to place my first corner in a random location. Okay, I did look at the dimension drawing first, so I know this needs to be 3 inches wide, 1 inch tall. All right. And I know now that I've got it in the correct location up and down, but I don't think I've got it in the correct location side to side. See how this side is bigger than this side? So I need to take and move that over, and I'm going to use the dimension tool to do this. So this time with the dimension tool, I'm going to click on 2 lines. I'm going to click the vertical line on the edge, the vertical line on my rectangle. I'm going to click a third time to open that dialog box, and I want the distance to be 1 inch. And so I'm going to click 1. You can see everything in here turns black. That tells me I've assigned a size and location to everything. So we're going to go ahead and say Finish Sketch. And just like we did before, I'm going to click the Extrude button. I'm going to pick this profile. I'm going to say I want to extrude through all. This time, because I clicked extrude all first instead of cut first, it knew I wanted to extrude everything back there. My preview looks good, so we're going to click OK. All right, this is looking nice. So the last thing we need to do is an extrusion down here on the bottom. So I'm going to go create 2D sketch. I'll click on this surface that I want to sketch on. And if I go back to our multi-view drawing, all right, I can see this is 2 inches to this side, 3 inches here. So I know this is 1 inch across. My object's 4 inches long altogether. I'm sorry, 7 inches long altogether. This solid section is 4. So that's 3 inches long as well. So I need to draw another 1x3 rectangle. And I need to have that 1x3 rectangle 2 inches in from this front edge. All right, so again, I'm going to the rectangle tool. I got that blue X that tells me I'm over top of a line. Okay, I'm going to use the dialog boxes and the tab key to type in 1x3. So I've got the location left to right. I've got the box the right size. I just need my up and down location. So we'll click there and there. Click a third time to open my dialog box and type in 2 inches. I'm going to finish my sketch. I'm going to go to the home and I'm going to hit the extrude one more time. I'm going to go to cut. I'm going to pick this profile. So I think I need to pick the profile first is what I'm realizing, then hit cut. But we can go in here to extent type and pick all, and then it'll cut everything away behind that. All right. So there's my subtractive shape. Now you're going to do this 2 more times, and you might be asking yourself, how is Mr. Coleman going to know if I did it once or 3 times? The way I'll be able to tell is down here at the bottom. It actually records every move that you make. So if you want to check out how you made this thing, I can click on sketch 1 and it shows me what my first sketch is. I can click on extrusion 1. It shows me the material I extruded. There's my second sketch, my second extrusion. So as we go through this progress bar down here, it kind of shows how the shape was made. I can even hit play and it'll give me a real quick time lapse of how we modeled that up. All right. This is also a pretty powerful tool because if I need to go back and edit one of my sketches, I can right click and then I can go into edit sketch and change some things around. Okay? We'll cover that a little more in a future video, but I just wanted to show you that that feature exists. Last thing we're going to do in this video is we're going to save our object. So I'm going to come up here and hit save. This is just going to update it. So it's going to say user saved. If you want to create a milestone and call it like finished, you can check this box and say I finished it. Right, maybe you're halfway through a drawing and I say clean up. You could always create your milestone like hour ended or something like that. Or you can do no milestones too if that's the way you want to run. That's fine. So we're going to go ahead and click on OK. This ends the first video. Go ahead and watch the next one if you got some more time this hour.